who's next? Yeah, who's next? Who ride a greyhound? Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create some serious leverage in the music business. As a matter of fact, that's literally what the C.L.I.M.B means. It's an acronym, C.L.I.M.B, for those that can see. Creating leverage in the music business. See what we did there? See what we did? That was good. So let me introduce you to my co-host, Brent Baxter. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And Brent also helps songwriters turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and equally as important, the business of songwriting. You can find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. They help you find your sound, and they help you find your audience. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating that all-important cash flow. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S, and we all know why, because there is only one Johnny Dwinell.
Booyah! How you doing, brother?
I am pumped. I'm good.
Too.
I'm good. Life is good. Exciting things are happening, and can't wait to start telling people about them.
Your title for this episode has me extremely intrigued, sir.
Oh, see, that's a whole nother episode, the importance of good titles in songs. But that's not what this episode's about, but maybe the next one. But yes, this one is we're calling Sporks, a Twinkie, and Warner Brothers Records.
See, right off the bat, I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Twinkie Defense,
right, yeah,
and Warner Brothers Records.
There we go. Well, we'll go ahead and get into this. Just have you ever imagined, as a songwriter, having a music industry pro pull out a lyric of one of your songs, like from memory, pull out a lyric of one of your songs and quote it back to you, like a music industry pro quoting your song back to you, and tell you they love it? Let me tell you, it feels great, and it opens doors. Okay, so in my last episode, I revealed how great imagery can give your songs that slight edge that can bring big opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, today I want to give you an example of how a really cool image or two opened some doors for me and gave me some opportunities in the music business.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
But first, let's talk about some iTunes reviews.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Shout-outs.
Shout outs. All right. So the first one I want to read is from L. Jane Forever, who was kind enough to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. So thank you, L. Jane. Titled Simply Amazing. And it says, 2 professionals I've been following and learning from over the past 2 years have joined forces for one outstandingly amazing and educational podcast. Best of all for us indies, it's free. God bless the both of you. Well, God bless you, L. Jane Forever.
I love L. Jane Forever.
Oh,
I do. No, it's Jay Lane.
Jay Lane? I don't know. That's how she.
How is it that you're a lyricist and you have?
It says L. Jane Forever.
No, Jay Lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look at it.
I was in a hurry.
You're a dyslexic lyricist. That's
down.
Funny, dude.
That's probably one of those 5:30 in the morning things. Well,
oh my God.
Jay Lane.
Yeah. No, I love Jay Lane. He's a rocker, man. He sent me some swag, dude. I got a T-shirt from him.
Dude, I call it Jane.
Dude, he's right from my planet, man. Planet rock and roll. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna give a shout out to some friends of mine. I know who these girls are. They live in Nashville, and they have taken marketing by the bullhorns. I mean, they are like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to do it, and they are growing and growing and growing online. I've got nothing to do with them. They're doing it completely on their own, and they are they keep getting, they constantly contact with me on social media saying, hey, we got another opportunity, thank blah, 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 this and that. And they've gotten, I mean, they went through the webinar, they're regular listeners of this podcast. So, I mean, we influence that, Brent, but I want to give credit where credit is due. They're doing all the work, and it's incredible. It's Two Steel Girls and that's their handles on social media. It says, we have learned so very much from this podcast. Thank you for what you're doing. Much appreciated, Two Steel Girls. So that means a lot. TwoSteelGirls.com. These guys doing constant videos, very, very productive, and I'm just proud of them, man. I just love to see artists who get it and go for it.
That's awesome. Thank you to Tool Steel Girls. Wait, two. I don't do names.
Dos.
Full Teal Girls.
Here we go back with that.
I want to make it a thing. I just get names wrong. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, Gerald Dwinell. That's what I'm going to do the rest of the episode.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So, okay, I got to find out about Sporks, a Twinkie, and Warner Brothers Records.
All right. Here we go. I can write, but I can't read. All right. So, Brandon Kinney and I wrote a song called Every Head Bowed. And this was a few years ago. Don't spoil everything. Oh. Yeah, but it was written from the point of view of a little boy in church. So it was a funny song, and we packed it with imagery, both from our imagination and, collective memories of growing up in churches, And so the song went on to get recorded by legendary country artist Randy Travis, which was just awesome. It was on his record Around the Bend on Warner Brothers Records. So it was just obviously a huge thrill to have a song recorded by an artist of Randy's stature. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He's a Hall of Famer, legend.
Such an identifiable voice.
Man, it was hearing that come out of the speakers for the first time was just,
dude,
that's just something special.
Could have beat you up in a parking lot and you couldn't still be smiling.
Just one of those just ridiculous. Yeah. And, but what really tickled me about the song is that he cut this particular song, and this particular song contained the word spork. Yeah, spork. Those little plastic spoon fork thingies at KFC.
KFC, yeah. The spoon fork.
We put that in a song and got it cut. And that just gave me no end to the giggles. Yeah. I just thought that was so, I'm like, it's spork.
You don't see that every day.
Cut by a legend. Yeah. So anyway, so the end of the song takes place after church as the family's having lunch at KFC. It's a story song. It's at the end of it, after church, where you go to KFC, and the dad tells the singer to put that spork back down while the family prays. All right, so, it says put that spork back down. So it's such an odd, specific word, but it's exactly what you use at KFC. And it fits the fun vibe of the song. It's a fun song. It's not like Monday Morning Church, which is like a downer, right. With the word spork. And it made sense in the context and with the vibe we were going for. So, but here's where it gets even more fun. So I kind of knew some of the, A&R folks at Warner Brothers, but now I had a cut on one of their artists. All right. So, they knew me from like Monday Morning Church. They, of course, were aware of that song, but now I had a cut on one of their folks. And so that definitely took me up a notch in their eyes. But even more, they loved the spork line. So.
Because they all been there,
Because they're just like, you put spork in a Randy Travis song. So I'd bump into a couple of the A&R folks, and we talk about the song, because I want to talk about the song because I got a Randy Travis cut. And they'd always mention that line, and like, how was their favorite line in the song, or it was so funny. Like, you put spork in a song. That's great, So A&R people hear thousands and thousands of songs. It's ridiculous how many songs they hear. And more songs than you can remember, right? But if you give them an image they love, something like that, they will remember your song and you. Yeah. And that's what a spork started doing for me.
When people think sporks in Nashville, they think Brent Baxter.
Exactly. I was like
KFC.
KFC. I was like the spork guy. So, that stupid little plastic spoon fork gave me a calling card. All right. So I was the guy that wrote the spork song. So it gave the A&R people a little something positive to remember me by. Yeah. It's a goofy line, no doubt. But it helped me get more pitch meetings there. Yeah. Because they're connecting me with something positive. I love that line. We cut it. It's great. You wrote it. Sure. Come on back.
That's right. And they connected also, like, by the way, subconsciously with KFC, which has a secret ingredient in the chicken that makes you crave it nightly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the secret ingredient for my songs. So, which, by the way, the word spork, if you listen to that song, which you should go by like 5,000 copies on iTunes, you won't hear the word spork in the cut. So here's the thing about that. What's funny is, like, I had to almost arm wrestle Brandon to get the word spork in that song. When we were writing it, he's like, spork, man, I don't know. I was like, spork, spoon fork, KFC, it's a real deal. He's like, I don't think people will know what it means. I'm like, let's go walk around your office. We're at Skyline Music, I think, at the time. So we like walked around asking some of the plugs or stuff. You know what spork is? Yeah, it's this plastic spoon. Thanks, all I need to know. Like, took an unscientific poll, right? And I won. So
everybody knew. Yeah.
Put spork in the song, and anyway, so they loved it. But Randy and one of the higher up A&R people were like, I just don't know if people are going to know what that is, and they changed it to fork.
Oh,
I know if it had been anyone else but Randy Travis, I'd be like, fork you. But so they took it out. But as far as which really broke my heart. But we got a second cut on it on the Lonesome River Band. And they put spork back in, so thank you.
Oh,
but anyway,
boom,
secondary cut, and they got
the gift
right.
that keeps on giving.
Yeah, but anyway, but as far as the point of what we're talking about today, the spork had done its job. Yeah. It was the first part of that rocket that
served its purpose.
Falls off first, right?
Yeah,
you can go now. Because it helped get me on the radar, these A&R people, and it still gave me that calling card. And even more so, it gave us something else to talk about. Like, I can't believe they took that line out of the song. That was my favorite part of the song, and they changed it. I'm like, I know. So how about this other song?
Here's another song we don't have to change the lyrics on.
Exactly. Yeah. So it did its job. We got it cut. It was on the record, and people liked it. So,
hey, not for nothing, but before we go on, I want to interject something here. Sidebar, okay, value bomb.
Oh,
if you're paying attention, he gets into Warner Brothers, and he had already had Empty as a Monday Morning Church was already cut, so everybody knew Brent from that. But that wasn't a Warner Brothers track. He wasn't making money for Warner Brothers yet. They knew the song, but it wasn't one of their artists. It wasn't one of their children. That's the way they look at him. Like, it's one of our people that did it. And so now he gets the cut over there. And what's he doing? He's over there making relationships because now he's got a little more leverage over there. But I think it's, if you caught that, I caught that. Just because you get a hit doesn't mean you're done networking. It means you just got started. So
yeah, exactly. What have you done for me lately?
Yep.
Well, I wrote a song for Randy Travis that you just cut.
I got a ton of hits and none of them on your label. Awesome. See
ya. So I followed up and I had other songs, kind of like what we talked about on your last episode. I was building the ark before it started raining. I had other songs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Randy Travis. Well, I got some follow-up. Let me play you this for you. But anyway, a great image can really set the identity of a song in the mind of a listener. It's just like another hook or an alternate title. So you don't believe me? How many people call the Tim McGraw song something like that? Barbecue Stain.
Yeah.
Right. The real title of the song is something like that.
Yep.
Everyone called it Barbecue Stain. It's a barbecue stain song. Got a barbecue stain on my white T-shirt. All right. How many people, do you know when they were talking about the Dierks Bentley first, career single, his first hit was called What Was I Thinking?
Right.
But a lot of people call it the Little White Tank Top song.
Right. Hey, here's a big one. If I told most people one of the biggest hit songs, man, in the 70s was Escape, everybody would be like, what?
I don't know that one.
You do. The Pina Colada song.
If you like Pina Coladas. Yeah.
And getting caught in the rain. Like, so it's the Pina Colada song, but that's not the title of the song.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
What's a Pina Colada? Imagery, right? Like
Exactly. And, so those songs, the image in it that is not the hook was like a secondary hook that hooked into the brain of the listener enough that that's what they called it. They call it a Little White Tank Top song, or the barbecue stain on my white T-shirt. They don't have to be about white shirts. They can be other images like sporks. So it's really important that you do that. The right image, as simple as it might be, can make your whole song memorable. And memorable is valuable.
Yeah.
You want to be memorable. In a business where we're just flooded with songs, how do you get yours to stand out? One great way to get your song to stand out is have an unusual little image. Okay, I said, and you want it to be distinct. You want it to be memorable. You want it to be unusual. Don't be scared to get it out there like Spork. Okay, word association. Cut Off Jeans. What song is that?
Cut Off Jeans. Oh, that's like 1,000 songs, man.
All of it. Exactly. That's not going to that one. I love that one. I know what you're talking about. How about that Tailgate song? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, which 1,000 came out today?
Just a genre? Yeah. It's not going to stick in the mind like that. But you go, Little White Tank Top. Oh, it's a Dirk Bentley song. Barbecue Stain on My White T-shirt. Oh, yeah, that Tim McGraw thing. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't know the title, I know what song you're talking about.
Yep. You get that subconscious recognition, and that's and that has to do. Hey, I think we touched on this before, but it's worth repeating. The memory experts that blow your mind, that can memorize like a shuffled deck of cards in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
They use images.
There you go. And
not an image of the card.
They associate that with another
image, yeah. And there's some guys that go in there and they'll have at the beginning of their show there'll be 100 random things that they're taught to memorize, and then I've listened to some podcasts and some interviews with those people, and they're like, yeah, so. They started the podcast with, the pizza man comes to the door and there's a horse floating through a marble double staircase entrance to a huge mansion with raining diamonds and a snake going through and you're like, wait, what? Like,
you're like, I want some of what you're having.
Yeah, it sounds like an acid trip, but they're just remembering like these things, and because they remember that movie, they remember what they're supposed to remember, the list of all the items. So again, it's how, when you're listening to Brent talk about imagery, this is the way that the human body is biologically wired up to remember. What did we do before we could talk to communicate? Drew pictures on the cave walls, and that's what we remember. Why? Because that's always worked, and then we created 1,000 different languages and made it more confusing for everybody. But still, we pictures are what's key. Pictures are what's key. Instagram is Instagram because it's all about the images. You're not going to get a big old account on Instagram by putting up quote memes with just the words. It's got to be an image attached to that, and so it's what we remember.
Yep. And so I just want to encourage you to feel free, get bold, get creative, go maybe a little further than you think you should go as far as oddball images and that sort of thing, because you want to stand out. The worst thing you can do as a writer is just be forgettable and just leave the listener just like you found them. You don't want to do that, even if they're like, "Ugh, that's too much," or "That's too, that's too much of an image," or that's just too out there. That's just too. Oh, I didn't see that coming. I'd rather do that than just go, "Oh, your song is full of stuff that is just like a billion other songs."
Yeah,
nothing to remember it by. Oh, yeah, it's the one with the tailgate and the cutoffs and the girl and she's barefoot. And and yes, there are a lot of those that are hits. Okay, that's why we know those cliches. They weren't written by you, and they weren't written by me.
That's right.
Okay,
so how are you going to cut through that?
So you can't beat
that's a good point.
With that. You can't beat that with that. You can't beat cliche with cliche, because you know what? Unless you're in that room with that artist, with that producer, or those name writers that have a leg up and connections that you don't have, you can't fight fire with fire. Okay, so I just wanted to share another quick story involving Every Head Bowed, the Randy Travis cut. So this is a couple months ago, I guess, or maybe back during the summer. It was a little while back, but I was out and I ran into one of Randy Travis's band members. He's like, hey, we're talking, and I was like, hey, you're in Randy's band? Because we went to see Randy at this thing, and I was like, man, you probably played one of my songs. I'm trying drop that in whenever I can.
Name dropping yourself.
I am. I'm just trying to get.
That's gonna go on. That's gonna go on the highlight reel.
There we go. Drop it like I'm clumsy. Anyway, I said, yeah, you probably played one of my songs. He's like, which one? I said, and I told him every head bowed. He just kind of looked at me for a second. And then a light came on, and he nudged his wife who's standing behind him. He was like, this guy wrote Every Head Bowed. We love that song. And she just kind of looked confused. Like she didn't remember it. She's like, what do you mean we love this song? He's like, oh, the Twinkie song. She's like, oh, we love that one.
And he's in the band.
Yeah. There's a line about a Twinkie in Every Head Bowed as well. So we don't just have Sporks. We got Twinkies in there as well. So there's a line about, he's in church and he's hungry, but there's like a month-old Twinkie in his corduroy coat.
Oh, my gosh.
That you find. And again,
still good.
Yeah.
Still be good 500 years from now.
Exactly. Still good. Like Dead Sea Tupperware. So
there's no bacteria.
Anyway,
there's no bacteria that's going to risk their life eating on that.
Exactly. So again, we gave the listener like another strong image that helped hook that song into their minds. It wasn't even the Spork for them. For them, it was the Twinkie.
Yeah.
So we were like multiple hooks, little things going on, and not that we were sitting here thinking, because this will help lodge this in the mind. No, we were just trying to make it interesting and we were being real with it, because we were like, okay, going back in our memory and telling the story, but getting detailed in the story. And the story was just, we try to get unique with it. Mm-hmm. And so for some of the A&R people at Warner Brothers, it's the Spork song. I'm the guy that wrote the Spork song. Mm-hmm. Guy in Randy's band and his wife, it's the Twinkie song.
Yeah.
So don't be scared, because that's the same kind of thing. Like, do we put Twinkie in a country song? Well, yeah, because that's what helped them to remember it. And she smiled and lit up.
Hey,
like,
nothing. Like you're talking, you just mentioned how industry pros that work for a major record label, one of the last three major record labels in the country, refer to your song not as the song title, but as the Spork song. And then another industry pro who's a live guy who's been playing that song 1,000 times with the artist out on tour, and he and his wife, they don't think about it as Every Head Bowed. They think about it as the Twinkie song. So these are pros. These are people that are inside the circle that everybody wants to get into. This is how they're associating with the song. So not for nothing, consumers who aren't in the music industry, who just love country music, who love Randy Travis, what are they thinking? Spork song,
well, I think,
Twinkie song,
probably so. Yeah,
I mean they're attaching to that imagery too, and you'd think it would be a little bit more sophisticated maybe inside the circle, right? Like their interpretation of the song, but no, they're like, man, dude, it's the Spork. I love the Spork. Like, I mean, that's compelling, I think, to point that out.
I saw a picture. It was probably like in a liner note or something, some Tim McGraw like press materials or something. But they had a picture of one of his set lists that's kind of on stage. Just a piece of paper written out over by the monitor or something. And song number one was BBQ Stain.
Yep.
In their own set list, they refer to something like that as Barbecue Stain. Yep. Themselves. Yep. So on one hand, do you look at it as going, well, the song should have had a stronger title? Or do you just say, leave multiple hooks and lyrical imagery hooks in your song to catch more people, to hook
That's
more
just what
people?
they latched on
better
to.
Chance for them to latch on to something. We can't plan everything, though. Some of those are just happy accidents, and not
That's right.
I wasn't
like
thinking,
the Post-it
yes,
note.
I'm going to put Spork in there because so many people are going to latch on to. No, I thought it was cool. I thought I was pleasing myself.
Yeah, that's right.
I was making myself smile. And don't put that in the blurb. Brent pleasing himself. But,
no, that's actually really good.
so funny. Anyway,
but you know what? Yeah, and don't put that imagery in there, and then let it ride. Don't be upset about it. Let's remember Value Bomb here. The Post-it note was originally created by 3M to be a bookmark.
Well, there we go.
And it failed as a bookmark, but it made it $1 billion as a Post-it note.
Oh, that's awesome.
Totally different, so it's like, hey, we call this
they've come back and they've sold
else.
me actually Post-it notes as bookmarks. I'm like, that's brilliant. They turn it into a bookmark, and I bought it.
That's where I went first. But it's not every head bowed. It's the Spork song or a Twinkie song. I mean, the imagery again. We talked about this in your last episode, but that's probably the biggest. Would you say that? I mean, Lisa, you're the expert here. Like, is that the biggest sin, cardinal sin of a up and coming songwriter? Is the lack of imagery?
I think the big three things are, because we had our pitch to publisher event recently with Tim Huntsy of Parallel Music, and one of the things he said that he dings writers on the most, and this is like his writers too, I mean, these are pros, are stock melody and stock ideas. So it's kind of like, you can only get so far putting great imagery in a stock idea. Yeah. So the big thing is find great ideas, great, fresh melodies. And then, I think the other thing is how you tell it. And so much of how you tell that idea, how you convey it, is with the images. Yeah. Especially in the country market, is with imagery. And so you kind of got to have all three parts probably. But still, I mean, even if you don't have the best idea in the world, if you fill it with killer imagery, that's still going to help maximize what that thing can be. So it is really important, because we start hearing cliches and we just start tuning out. Every time you use a cliche, a puppy dies. So,
man, have you ever have you heard the new Miranda Lambert record?
Yeah, I've heard
the double record.
Yeah.
I mean, that blew my mind. That whole record blew my mind. Like, it's so good, but the imagery, like Vice. The
wear this town like a leather jacket.
Yeah, like what did she say? I wear this town like a leather jacket. When the new wears off, I don't even pack it. If you need me, I'll be wearing my reputation. Don't precede me. And then the imagery of the dirty imagery of the hook. What does she say in the hook? Another vice, another call. Another bed I shouldn't crawl out of. 7 a.m. with shoes in my hand. I said I wouldn't do it, but I did it again. I mean, in the opening line, in the imagery, right? Like was it
the needle dropping on the vinyl?
The sting of a needle dropping on the vinyl, right? Is that what she says? The sting of a needle dropping on the vinyl. Neon stinger with a jukebox full of heartbreak, and then she names off the record sizes.
Yeah.
33, 45, 78. When it hurts so good, you got to play it again. And describing the whiskey on the kitchen table with the black label, I mean, I saw it. Like, I saw her. I felt her loneliness. I felt her hurt. Her hurt. Yeah, through that imagery, and when I think of that song, those are the two things I think of: the high heels in her hand, and that image that pops into my mind with the way she described that glass of liquor that she'll drink before it even melts the ice.
Yeah, what a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So, hey, listen, if y'all want to dive more into imagery, I want to tell you about a really cool event I have coming up in January. So actually, it's coming up in just a couple days. So odds are, unfortunately, it's probably sold out. But just in case it's open, I want to tell you all about it. All right, because I know tickets are going, but I want to tell you all about it. It's the Use Imagery to Supercharge Your Songwriting, like the pros do, songwriting course and live online workshop. So if you're looking for that killer image that makes you and your song memorable, you should check out this event. And so it's coming up on Thursday night, January 19th. So get over there quick, check it out. I'm hosting a live online workshop where I'll answer your questions, reveal tricks and techniques that you can use to build your imagery chops and make your song stand out. It's cool. It's an online video conference, so you can join from anywhere in the world where you got internet connection, and we can still be face-to-face. So I love doing that stuff. It's cool. It's a small group, only going to be 12 of us total on there. And like I said, there are only a couple spots left, but just check it out just in case there's one left. But that's not all. Along with a live web shop, you also get a killer ebook full of the hows and the whys of writing great imagery, a willpower workbook where you build your imagery muscles, and an hour of audio teaching that's different from the webcast. Okay. So an extra hour of teaching on imagery. So it's a great deal, but there's just a couple spots left. So check it out at songwritingpro.com/store. If you just go to songwritingpro.com, just click on the store tab and take you through. You can see if it's still available, if it's sold out. But I do this sort of thing pretty regular basis. If it's not this workshop, it'll be something else where I dive into something, some facet of songwriting or the business. So even if you're listening to this a year, 2 years in the future, still go check out that link, see what we got going on, because I may have this one roll around again, or maybe something else that's valuable. But anyway, that's it. Just want to let y'all know about that.
Awesome, man. Well, that brings us to the end of another killer episode of The C.L.I.M.B. If you liked what you heard, if you find value in this content, then do us a favor, spread it around. We've got a reputation, okay? Spread it around. And share it with your friends. Let everybody know. We've been growing incredibly, and we're extremely grateful for the listeners. Please leave a rating and review. We try to, we're getting better at reading those off and trying to share those with everybody else, because we really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to us when you leave a rating and a review, because it helps us look more valuable to people who aren't aware of us and are familiar with us. So we're trying to become the unfamiliar and getting to the familiar, right?
Right, exactly.
Which we talk about a lot in this podcast. But with that said, we hope you're off to a great new year, and we want you to win, guys. So we're going to keep if you want something you need to hear, if you want us to talk about something, let us know, and keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.